You've baby-proofed the corners. You've researched the safest crib mattress. You've read about sleep training methods that cost more than your electric bill. And then one night, you hear it. A soft, rhythmic thump. Thump, thump, thump. You rush in, heart pounding, and find your baby rocking on hands and knees, forehead grazing the crib rail, over and over, in perfect time. Your first instinct is fear. Is she hurting herself? Is something wrong with him? But here's the thing almost no parent is told in the hospital, in the parenting classes, or in the 100 articles you've already read. This behavior has a name. It's remarkably common. And in the vast majority of cases, it isn't a sign of pain, distress, or damage at all. It's something else entirely. Something your baby's nervous system is doing on purpose. Pediatric sleep researchers call it rhythmic movement disorder. But don't let the word disorder alarm you, because in infancy, it's usually not a disorder in the way that word implies. It's closer to a built-in setting. Think of it less as something going wrong and more as your baby discovering their own internal metronome, a steady beat they can create themselves, whenever they need it, without asking anyone for help. Picture this. It's 9 p.m. The house has gone quiet. Your baby is drowsy, but not quite asleep, lying in the dark, alone for the first time all day. And instead of crying out, instead of needing you to come rock them, they start rocking themselves, head against the mattress or hands against the rail, in a steady, self-made rhythm. Not frantic, not distressed, almost meditative. They are doing on their own the exact thing you've been doing for them since the day they were born, swaying, patting, rocking them to calm. Except now, for a few minutes at least, they don't need you to do it. They found the rhythm inside themselves. That single image is the whole story of this episode. Because what looks alarming from the doorway is very often your child's nervous system quietly teaching itself one of its first tools for self-soothing. Not a flaw to fix, a skill in progress.
So how common is this really? Researchers who study infant sleep behaviors have found that head banging, body rocking, and head rolling show up in a large share of typically developing babies, often somewhere between 6 months and 2 years old, with estimates suggesting it affects somewhere around 1 in 5 infants at some point. What mattered most in the research wasn't the movement itself, it was the timing. These rhythmic behaviors cluster almost entirely around sleep, at bedtime, during naps, or in that drowsy window right before drifting off. Almost never during wide-awake, engaged play. That pattern is the clue. This isn't random. It's not a warning sign in isolation. It's a sleep transition tool, showing up exactly when a baby is trying to shift from alert to calm, all on their own. There's an older thread of research on rhythm and infant regulation that tells a similar story in a different setting. Long before babies can talk, long before they can ask for what they need, they respond to steady, repetitive motion. The sway of a car ride, the bounce of a knee, the gentle rock of arms. Observational studies of infant soothing found that consistent, predictable rhythm was one of the most reliable ways to bring a fussy or overstimulated baby back to calm, often more reliable than novelty or distraction. What's striking is what this suggests happens next developmentally. At some point, a baby stops merely receiving that rhythm from a caregiver's arms and starts generating it themselves. Headbanging and body rocking are, in a very real sense, that discovery in action. The baby isn't malfunctioning. The baby is graduating. So let's reframe this gently, because if you're watching this with your stomach still in a knot, you deserve that reframe. This was never about something being wrong with your parenting or something being wrong with your baby. It's not a symptom to eliminate. It's not a sign you missed something. In the overwhelming majority of cases, it's simply a young nervous system that hasn't yet built other tools for winding down, borrowing the one tool it already knows works: rhythm. Your baby isn't asking for rescue, they're practicing regulation. And once you see it that way, the sound in the dark stops feeling like an alarm and starts sounding like something closer to your baby humming themselves to sleep.
So what do you actually do tonight if you hear that thump start up again? Here are 3 simple things you can try, none of which require a single purchase and none of which demand perfection. First, check safety, then let it be. Make sure the crib is sturdy, the mattress is firm, there's nothing loose nearby, and the head or hands are landing on padded surfaces, not hard rail edges. Once that's confirmed, resist the urge to rush in every single time. You might quietly whisper from the doorway, "I'm right here, you're okay," and then give it a minute. Often the rocking slows and stops entirely on its own within 10 or 15 minutes. Second, offer rhythm earlier in the routine, so your baby has less need to generate it alone. A few extra minutes of slow rocking, gentle back pats and a steady beat, or quiet humming right before you lay them down can help meet that rhythmic need together, before it becomes a solo bedtime ritual. You don't have to get the timing perfect. Even a rough, distracted version of this, done consistently, still helps. Third, keep the sleep environment steady and predictable. Same order of events each night, same dim lighting, same quiet sounds if you use them. Rhythmic self-soothing behaviors tend to fade faster in environments that already feel calm and consistent, because the baby's nervous system has less work left to do on its own. You might say to your child, even now, even before they understand the words, "Same as always, love, nice and slow," because the tone matters more than the content, and babies absorb tone long before they absorb meaning. None of these steps require a white noise machine shaped like a cloud, a smart crib that costs more than a used car, or a sleep training app with a subscription fee. They require attention, repetition, and a small amount of patience, which, unlike gadgets, are available to every parent in every home, on every income, at 11 o'clock at night when nothing else is open anyway.
Compare this for a moment to everything the market tries to sell worried parents at 2 a.m. Anti-rocking crib inserts, weighted sleep sacks marketed to stop movement, consultants charging hundreds of dollars to eliminate a behavior that, in most cases, isn't a problem to begin with. None of it is necessary here. What actually helps your baby move through this stage isn't a product. It's rhythm you already know how to give, patience you're already capable of giving, and a little bit of trust in a nervous system that is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, on schedule, without an instruction manual. So go back to that doorway, your baby, forehead against the mattress, rocking themselves in the dark. You don't have to fear that sound anymore. You can stand there, hand on the doorframe, and understand it for what it really is. Not a struggle, not a warning. A small, steady rhythm your child built entirely on their own, echoing the very rhythm you've been giving them since the day they were born. They learned it from you. Now they're practicing it by themselves, one thump at a time, on their way to sleep. If this helped you breathe a little easier tonight, stay close, not because this channel needs another number, but because there will be another strange, quiet moment like this one. Another thing your baby does that looks alarming and turns out to be beautifully ordinary, and you deserve to meet it with calm instead of panic. Subscribe if you want a steady hand for the next one. Your baby doesn't need a perfect parent. They just need your rhythm until they find their own.